Hello and welcome to the LiDAR missile system setup video. In this video, we'll discuss building your missile for use with the LiDAR mapping script and how to get it integrated into your ship or station. As you can see here, I built a basic missile. It has all the components necessary, and we will go over building this exact missile right here, right now. So what we'll need to build this missile is a programmable block, an antenna, a merge block, a thruster, a gyroscope, a battery, and a remote control. You can also put as many or as few other blocks on it as you want, but we'll go over the basics here. I like to start with thruster. Just put a large, small grid thruster there. And we can throw a couple of little ones, just give it a little extra acceleration. The antenna will stick right there. And remote control, programmable block, and gyroscope. Battery, and to finish it off, the merge block. So it's pretty compact. This is everything you need for this to function. Obviously, I recommend placing some blocks out front to take some rounds, give you a little more survivability as it flies towards its target. So with that in mind, I won't bother putting all those blocks back on here since I have it all right here. So the next step is coming into the PB. We'll hit Edit, Browse Workshop, and we're looking for the LiDAR guided missile script. Hit OK. Current version should say 3.5. A couple of updates from the previous version is this right here. If you're using the LiDAR mapping script as well, you can place that LiDAR block group name here. What I did was, before, it required that the projector that was projecting your missile had to be the closest projector to the programmable block on the missile. And that was out of all other projectors on the ship. I simply updated that to use only projectors in this block group. So it only has to be the closest projector in this block group to that programmable block. The other update here, and we'll go over this in more detail in a moment, is you no longer need to have one missile per projector. You can now project a missile cluster rather than a single missile. The only difference is, instead of where before this might have just said ion missile merge, and you could place this same blueprint on a dozen projectors and it would project a dozen of the same missile. You can now create one blueprint, which we'll do here in a moment, that has 4, 6, 10 missiles on it, and just make sure that in each of the programmable blocks for the missiles, this goes 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Other than that, everything else is the same. So we can check code and remember an exit. All right, so now that we have that done, we'll use this blueprint here to create a missile cluster. So essentially, what I'm going to do is simply create a little fin to place some merge blocks on. Okay, and we'll go a merge block there, merge block there, merge block there, and a merge block there. Now, all we have to do is take our projection here. Where'd it go? Lost it. There it is. Take our blueprint and set it on there. One more. There we go. And I'll make this just a little longer back here. Okay, so now we've taken that same missile and created a missile cluster here. Easy enough. The only thing we need to do now is go into these, edit, and this one will make Ion Missile 2. Ion Missile 3. And Ion Missile 4. All right, so now I have a missile cluster that has 4 missiles, each named differently, and that is the only requirement for the missile cluster, is that this unique ID actually needs to be unique per programmable block. All right, so you would then take this, Control B, create your blueprint, and keep it in here. I've already created one, this exact same missile cluster. We no longer need that, and we no longer need that. All right, so now integrating it into your ship. Obviously, if you're using a single missile per projector, you would just have one missile coming off here. This is a missile cluster. So, being a large grid station here and a small grid missile cluster, I have a large rotor base with a small head, and then I'm able to project, and if I look right here, I have a projector there that is projecting the missile cluster. Okay. And once you get it all lined up in there, looking pretty, then you simply need to come over here boom, and come in here and recompile the script. This will then go from using missiles false to using missiles true. It detects that you have both a projector and an antenna inside your LiDAR system block group. Okay, it requires the projector and the antenna inside the block group in order to recognize that you're trying to use the missile system. All right. Now As you can see, we've got a couple of targets loaded into the map. Got that guy there, and I believe that guy there. And you can see we have 4 missiles ready to go. So we can select a target, and that is literally just coming in here and select target and hitting run. And the fact that you see, if I do that, it changes the target in the map display to the left. Right? I simply have that tied to a button. And then the same for this is just running that with the command launch tied to a button. Alright, so we'll go after the moving target. And we hit that. And away it goes. And we can follow it. Where is it at there? There it is. And there she blows. So that is the setup instructions for using the missile system.